Once again, back, it's the incredible, the uncannibal, the number one podcast out there, which would be Bounce TV. Back with episode 3 of an amazing interview with an amazing individual. This show, real quick, is designed to inspire everyone, create, acknowledge the genius that's in all of us, and that will propel us into a world and deliver all of the great value that we can give. And on that note, I'm bringing in, our guest today. This young lady I've had the privilege and the honor to know now for almost a year, came to the Charity Bounce organization, not as a surprise, but I see now as a blessing. That would be the one and only Kayla Franchesca, young Australian lady of Filipino descent. And when I first saw her, she's so small and so beautiful, but so small and petite and ladylike. When I heard that she was an ice hockey player, totally, she epitomizes that big things come in small packages sometimes, and that you cannot judge the book by its cover. So I want to introduce this that already know her, the incomparable Kayla Franchesca. Kayla, hey, how you doing today?
I'm good. Thank you, Tracy, for that wonderful introduction. And I'm so happy to be here. I was helping you organize the whole podcast for Bounce, and I didn't expect for me to be a guest. So it's going to be exciting.
Definitely. I mean, and again, I mean, because like I said, you're leading. I hate to say you've led this amazing life because you're so young, but the great thing about it is that you've done so many great things, I think, and I think a lot of our listeners and viewers are going to think that it just makes us even more excited of what's to come. I said in the introduction, you're Filipino descent. I know about Philippines because as an old basketball player, that used to be the big stopover spot between the European and the NBA seasons. Like, you dash down the Philippines, and because it plays such great basketball there. So I guess just starting off, I want to ask you a question. Did you play basketball a lot as a young kid?
I actually did, yes. So in Philippines, everybody loves basketball, mostly because I think since Philippines is a third world country, a lot of kids don't have access to other sports. Basketball is a sport that you can play anywhere. You could play on the street. You could create your own basketball hoop. So it's just one of those sports where it's easy to play. So I think that's why a lot of Filipinos love it. And as well, the game itself is amazing. So I did play a lot of it when I was young. I remember when I was I was around 8 years old, 9 years old, and I was in school. I wanted to be part of the basketball team in my school, but they weren't allowing any girls to join. It was an all boys team. And at that age, I was already, wanting to be in sport, and I wanted to already be different. So I asked the coach if I could be part of the team, and obviously they said no, it's boys only. And at that young age, I was kind of frustrated as to I couldn't see why I wasn't allowed to play in the team just because I was a girl. So anyway, I spoke to the coach and I told him that it's fine if I can't play, but can I just attend the trainings? I just want to train. I just want to play some practice games. And I think they got annoyed a bit at my persistence. So the coach just let me join and said, okay, come to the training. And then eventually, I think they saw how much I loved it and how much I was really willing to attend every training. And I was really willing to learn about the sport. they eventually let me play, and they eventually let me be on the team for real. So from then on, I was actually the first girl to be on the basketball team in my school ever. So it was kind of like history made. And now I'm guessing now they still have a basketball team, and they have a women's team now and a men's team, which is great. So yeah.
Groundbreaking, groundbreaking stuff. Now I know I probably that's my fault. I set you up. I should have just started one on the first question, which was to tell this amazing story. This is groundbreaking story, and you just being a pioneer in certain things, and your persistence, and that's why I asked I asked Kayla to come on the show because her story, I mean, a persistence, everything, she's the epitome of what we try to do at the Charity Bounce organization. That her things that she realized before Charity Bounce is what everything that I think that we're about. So again, that's why we got to have you here on the show. So with that said, tell us your journey. What was your journey from to here to today? Kind of tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I am now a Philippine national ice hockey player, but how I started playing hockey is probably very interesting, because Philippines and ice hockey doesn't really go well. So a lot of people ask me how did I end up playing ice hockey in the Philippines. So when I was about 7 years old, my parents made me watch the movie called Mighty Ducks. So it's this Disney movie. I know a lot of people have seen it, but basically, the Mighty Ducks is a Disney movie about these bunch of kids that play hockey, and they were a terrible team, but they ended up having a coach who helped them win games, and obviously taught them a lot about life. But when I watched this movie, there was one girl on the team. She was the only girl, and her name was Connie Moreau. I still remember her name because I like idolize her. I remember telling my mom, I want to be like her. I wanna play hockey, and I wanna play with the boys, because she's different. So my mom and my dad took me ice skating for the first time ever in the one and only ice skating rink in the whole country. There's only one in the whole country. And I remember my first ice skating coach telling my parents that I was a natural, she should continue doing ice skating. And I said, yeah, I told my mom, I really do want to continue ice skating. And the coach said, okay, great. We'll start to enroll you for figure skating lessons. And I still remember looking at the coach and telling him, I'm not gonna do figure skating. I want to play ice hockey. And the coach went to my mom and said, um, are you sure that you're gonna let her do ice hockey, because ice hockey is for boys? The girls do figure skating. She should do figure skating. And I told my mom, no, that's why I want to do ice hockey, because none of the girls do it. I want to be different. So yeah, from then on, at a young age, I don't really know how or where it came from, that drive inside me, why I already wanted to be different at such a young age. But I'm glad that I did, because I fell in love with hockey. Obviously, growing up, it was just for fun. I was training, I was meeting some friends, I was playing some games, but it eventually turned into a real passion after I started to realize that girls aren't given much attention in male dominated sport. And that kind of disappointed me, and I really wanted to make a difference with that. So I was really persistent. We didn't have a women's team until I turned 18 years old. And so it was a long it was a long time. From 7 years old, I played with the boys until I was 16, 17. And it was really tough because, I would get discouraged because obviously being a girl, and not just being a girl, being a little girl who wasn't really built for ice hockey, um, I felt a bit discriminated at times. Like they wouldn't pass to me. They wouldn't play me as much, or they would talk behind my back. Why am I on this team? So it was really discouraging. Um, but I used those discouragements as motivation to keep going because I should be able to play hockey. Why not? I love it. I feel like I deserve it as much as them. Just because I'm a girl doesn't mean that I can't do what I love. So it was really hard, but I was able to, at a young age, take all those negative feedbacks and turn them into something that makes me stronger. And eventually, when I turned 18, we were finally able to form a women's team, and it was amazing for me. It was like a dream come true because I loved playing with the boys because it made me very competitive. It taught me a lot of things, but it's still different to be playing with the girls. I remember being so excited that I was training a lot for our first international tournament. I was getting ready. I was training on and off the ice. I was reading books to even prepare me mentally. And I was still training with the boys and still playing with the boys so that I could keep my conditioning up and my strength up. And during one game leading up to our first women's tournament, I was playing with the men's team during a game, and I remember getting hit from my side and I fell awkwardly. So my knee kind of twisted in an awkward way, and I literally heard it snap. And it was like a movie, everything was in slow motion, and I don't remember much, but I remember screaming and crying because it was really painful. And the next thing I remember is I was in the hospital with my mom by my side, and they told me that I have a torn ligament on my right knee. So it was MCL. And this was one of the most depressing moments of my life because I was getting ready to compete for the first time with our very first Philippine women's team. And I wasn't going to be able to play. I was very upset, but I still decided to travel. So it was going to be in Singapore. I still decided to travel to Singapore with my team. I was in crutches and in a wheelchair, but I still went because I wanted to be there to support the first ever women's team. I didn't want to miss that. Even though I wasn't going to be able to play, I still wanted to be on that bench to support them and, see how we play for the first time. And the team ended up winning gold, which was even like, heartbreaking. Obviously, I was very, very proud of my team and very, very happy for them, very happy for Philippine hockey. But, I can't avoid the feeling of heartbreak and sadness because I wasn't able to play. I took this as another lesson, and I really had to force myself to think that things happen for a reason. Um, I'm not sure what that reason is until now, but I do think that it's for me to learn how to be there for people, even if I can't really play. Like it taught me how to be supportive and be proud of others, even though I wasn't there to play with them. It taught me a lot about teamwork and being, a lot about sportsmanship as well. Um, I was able to bounce back from that. I trained a lot. I did rehab a lot because I really wanted to come back stronger, and I didn't want to stop playing hockey because obviously I had that fear. I had that fear of going back on the ice, stepping back on the ice and not being able to skate again, or I was scared of falling because I didn't know what my knee would feel like. But I had to let go of that fear. I just got stronger, and eventually I was able to compete with the women's team finally, and it was such a dream. In 2019, which was 2 years ago, we traveled to Abu Dhabi for the International Ice Hockey Federation, and we competed against different countries. It was mostly Asian countries. It was such an amazing experience to, represent my country and play the sport that I love. And we won gold that year. I it's it's a we made history with for Philippine hockey, and to be a part of that is just amazing because we have a Philippine men's team, and like every other sport, unfortunately, the men's sports are still given a lot of attention. But in that moment when we won gold for Philippines, it was kind of like we finally got the attention of our country that there's a Philippine women's ice hockey team. So it was like a movie again, how we won. We were up against the home team, which was Abu Dhabi. The score was like 3-2, so very close, and I was awarded best player for Team Philippines. So it was amazing. Yeah, and it's such an amazing journey to be an ice hockey player because it makes me feel very very different, very unique, and I get to share stories that not everyone gets a chance to experience, and I hope that that motivates more girls to play sports. That's my goal basically. I want to keep helping girls be motivated in playing sport, even if it is a male dominated sport. I want to inspire them to do the same and encourage them and tell them that they can do it as well.
Wow. I heard you, I've heard parts of your story, and man, I didn't, the MVP joint. That's what I just found out. Listening to you, I mean, like I said, you're such a groundbreaker. And, they say, I've read anyway, that, people who normally go out and become groundbreakers, they never ever really think about it. They just do it. They just go out and they do it, and they follow what's inside of them. Now, listening to what you're saying and telling about your story, you know, I'm hearing you hitting these hard places. And all of us, everybody watching this is hitting hard places. They might be in a hard place right now while they're watching it. But we hear where you took lemons and made lemonade. You took a tough situation, and just went on. And how did you develop the mental tools? That's what I'm gonna call it. The mental tools. Was it through your reading? Was it through some of your mentors? Who are those? And if so, who are those key people who helped you to gave you the mental tools to process these terrible adverse situations and turn them, like I said, lemons into lemonade?
Yeah, so you said it, you got it. I do a lot of reading. I remember leading up to every tournament that I go to, I read this book called The Champion's Mind. And I mention it to everyone because it's actually really helped me a lot, that book. I've read it like 10 times. And I read it a month before I have to go to a tournament because it really helps me prepare mentally. I learned everything about mental strength from that book. It's written by a sports psychologist, and he's worked with NHL players, NBA players, NFL players. He knows what an athlete's mind is all about, and he knows how to strengthen that. So it's actually from that book where I learned everything about thinking positively, or what to think during a game, what to think before a game, and even what to think before after a game. And I've learned a lot about visualization from that book as well, and how it's really important when you're playing sport. So I remember our first ever international ice hockey tournament, which was in Thailand. It was our very first um, championships overseas. And I remember just visualizing 24/7 what I wanted to happen during my first game. I was on the plane. I was thinking about how I was going to score. Before I go to bed, I was thinking about how I was going to score. And I remember thinking I was going to score top left of the net. That's where I was going to score. That's where I was going to get the puck in. And I thought about that 24/7, even what the ice looked like, what the crowd sounded like, what I looked like, what everything felt like. It was like a practice for me. I was daydreaming how it was going to be. And believe it or not, on our first game, it came to life. It actually happened. And when I scored, I was even I got scared because it happened. What I was thinking about in my head, I was actually able to make it come true. And that's when it hit me how strong visualization really is, how strong your mind really is. When you think about what you want to happen and what you want to manifest, it can come true. So it's all about how much you want it as well, because I really wanted to score on the first game ever representing Philippines. And I was so happy and just amazed as well that I was able to make that come true. And a lot of my mentality comes from a lot of people as well. A lot of people has helped me on my career. And I think I would give a big credit to my uncle. So my uncle actually grew up in Vancouver. So he played hockey over there, played hockey his whole life. And he was playing college hockey, and he was about to turn pro. He was about to play in the NHL, but um, like everyone else, like a lot of people, their career got cut short because of an injury. So my uncle got injured, and he decided to go back home to the Philippines for a bit. And he actually coached me for years and helped develop Philippine hockey while he was there. And he was really tough on me while I was growing up. I remember if I was late to practice, he would make me do push ups on the ice. And I can't stop until he says so. Very strict, very sort of like military type. But and at that moment when I was young, I didn't understand why he was doing those things. I was sort of resenting him for a bit because he was really hard on me. And even when I would try to answer back, when he would try to explain something or ask me to do something on the ice at training, if I would answer back or tell him that that's too hard, he would get mad at me and tell me, suck it up, princess. That's what he loved to tell me. Every time I try to complain that I'm tired, he would say, suck it up, princess. And he knew that I hated that because I didn't like to be called a princess while I was playing hockey. I wanted to be tough, because you don't want a princess playing hockey. So it really fired me up. That's why he said it all the time. yeah, when I was young, I didn't understand why he was like that to me. But now I'm really grateful for him because without him, I wouldn't have improved so much. I got really fast because of him. He would train me on the ice and put ankle weights. So he would put weights on my ankles while I skate to really build my legs up and make me faster. And I really saw the difference with that when I grew up because I got really fast. And he also made me smarter on the ice. Like, my hockey sense is much more sharper, and I can read plays much better because of him. So a lot of it, I I really think I really thank my uncle for it. And obviously, I think a big part of that as well is from my mom. So my mom raised me as a single mom, and without her, I wouldn't have been playing hockey at all because hockey is an expensive sport in Philippines, not like in America or in Canada where it's normal, anyone can play hockey. In Philippines, it's different because you have to pay for ice, you have to pay for your hockey gear, and the hockey gear is very expensive. And obviously, we would travel overseas a lot, and my mom, even though she was raising me by herself, and we weren't really, we weren't rich, we didn't really have much compared to my other teammates, but my mom was able to make sure that I don't miss out on any tournaments overseas. I don't miss out on training. I had good gear, safe gear. Um, and I remember during one of my trainings, sometimes I would still even be discouraged to go to training because it was so early in the morning and I was young. I just wanted to stay at home, play games. I would literally fake sick. I would tell my mom that I don't feel really well, I don't want to go to training. But my mom would really push me and tell me that, look, if you want to get better, you can't get better if you don't train. So a lot of the motivation came from my mom as well.
Wow. Yo, that's some support. Most people, I always tell people, I said, look, I think most people need at least one person to believe in them. Because when people believe in you, they'll invest in you. And when they invest in you, it's like seed and they're planting it in you. And that was really like my number one question I wanted to ask you in all of my knowing you, because that question, how do you come into this world in the body that you have came in, and to do what you've done up to this time? And I know it's all about what's going on up here, because that's where everything starts. As a person thinks, so they are. And I just really, really wanted to know where did you get it from? Who put it in you to have that drive and determination? Because like you said, hockey's a real tough sport. I stopped playing American football for one reason. I was good, but I didn't want to get hit. In hockey, you get hit. I mean, for you to go out on the ice and say, now look, I'm already don't want to get hit running on the earth, on the ground. Now you up on this thin piece of blade, and you going, people going really, really fast at you. And then they got a stick in their hand. They can like hit you with that stick. When you walk out there, which kind of brings me to my next question. What are you afraid of? Now, you don't have to say, I'm afraid they're going to hit me with the stick or not. Because I really kind of mean that question almost metaphorically, like, I mean, ever since I met you, to the moment I looked in your eyes, I see this level of fearlessness that about you, about not just the way you play hockey, but just it seems like the blueprint, but how you attack this game called life, how you coming at that. So seeing that, I still want to ask the question, is because like right now, as you said, what are you afraid of? I mean, and it doesn't have to just be in the sport, because again, everybody out here has got to play in one game, and that's the game of life. So what are you afraid of, if anything? And you might not be afraid of anything, but what are you afraid of?
Um, well, back then, not anymore now, but back then I was really afraid of being judged, being judged about why I was playing hockey, because that happened a lot, especially from, believe it or not, from family and friends. My some Not all of my family, but some people from my family didn't really understand why I was playing hockey and why my mom was letting me play hockey. One, because it was dangerous. Two, it was expensive, and they didn't believe that it was going to amount to anything, because it wasn't a famous sport in Philippines like basketball. You know, if you're a basketball player in Philippines, it would make sense. Like, you would have a career, you would have a future, and you were given attention and sponsors and all these things. But hockey, they just didn't see what rewards I was gonna get. They think that I was wasting my time. And growing up, I was really scared of failing at the sport and not being good, because I was scared about what they would think. I was scared of them being right, that hockey was a waste of time. That's what I was afraid of. Um, but I think, again, I got past that, because I just wanted to prove them wrong. I had the drive to just prove these people wrong, that I don't care anyway if it's not gonna reward me with anything, because I was enjoying it a lot. I enjoyed the sport so much, and I met all of my friends there that are still my friends now. I grew up with them. They became family, and because of hockey, I learned values that I use now in life in general. I think that they didn't understand. They just saw it as, they just saw rewards that were material things, like maybe money, trophies, medals. Those things are great, but they didn't see the rewards that I got, which was where I am now. Now I wanna help people in sport by using sport. I was able to gain relationships that last forever. I was able to gain values that, are great values, great morals. And I think that's what they didn't see. And while I was growing up, I was really scared of not being able to prove to these people that hockey was worth it. Now, not anymore, because I I think they see it now. I think that after we won gold, and after we won gold for Philippines, we got a lot of attention from the country, from the media in Philippines. Finally, we were making history, and after that, a lot of them went up to me and told me that they were proud of me. They said congratulations. So I think from all the hard work and all the perseverance, I was finally able to show them that it was worth it. So yeah, like, again, I was able to overcome that fear, which is great. At the moment, I it's really hard for me to think about what I'm fearful of, because I really try my best every day to develop that mindset of not worrying or being fearful of anything. Like, every day, I really try to not stress myself about things that I am worried about. So it's hard for me to think about is what I'm fearful of. But yeah, I've obviously, everybody's afraid of something.
Yeah.
but I try my best not to be.
And to focus on it. Again, I think what, a way for you guys to kind of remind you of what Kayla is sharing with you is that she trains her brain. Would you say that I'm on point with that?
What's
You
that?
train, you train your brain. You train your brain how to
Yes,
respond
yeah,
to things. Yeah,
definitely.
yeah, and that's a process that we should all always take your example on how to prepare yourself mentally for whatever is out there in front of you in life. Um, I see the fearlessness in you every day when I see you, and it's inspiring. And that's one of the other many reasons I wanted to interview you today, because it's an inspiration to me. Because sometimes I've seen you, I don't know, we had a meeting not too long ago. I had enough on me to stagger an elephant. And I remember going in on Encliffe, and me and you spoke and said hello. And I'm just kind of looking at you, and you have like a focus and an intensity on your face. And I was just like, as an old athlete from every time, I'm like, oh, game face, all hands on deck. And I'm so appreciative of that with you. I think, my next question, I had two more left, was that I'm gonna try to put them together into one. One, why didn't you quit? Because and like everybody, I know every day it's a million reasons why you saw past your fears, you saw past your situation, and did it anyway. That MCL injury, I had an MCL, my knee caved to the inside, my left knee.
From basketball or?
In basketball. And I didn't do like you did. I was about, I stopped really trying to play basketball professionally after that. Then I started the excuse thing, that a way that you didn't do. I started saying, okay, well, I'm 35. I've been playing this game most of my life. At that time, 35 was old. Now the Tom Brady's and LeBron James have made it. And hey, I should have played till 45, but I just started allowing my brain to do the opposite of what you're doing. And that's why you're so inspirational to me personally, is because that drive that you have, and you're right. I was wrong. I was just looking for a door to step out of. I was just looking around in my life and say, hey, where's a door that I can step off of this thing that people would understand, and like you, my journey started out, just proving people wrong. Just, people are always going to tell you, you can't be this, you can't do this, you don't have enough money, you don't have enough contacts, you on the wrong side, born on the wrong side of the tracks, your parents are divorced, you got all of these negatives. There's no way a positive can come from it, but I've been able to prove it. You've been able to prove them wrong. You still proving them wrong. I think, like I said, I think I looked for a door. I found a good one, and that people would have understood. Yeah. You've been doing this for a minute, man. You've been going hard, and they kind of let you off the hook there. So I'm seeing you, and I'm seeing you ain't no slack in what you doing. You coming hard every day. So I guess in the last question, I want to say a two in one. One, touch on a little bit about why you don't quit, because I know you get situations to quit on. And as I always ask, definitely going forward, when we die in America, I don't know if it's a thing over here, the newspaper puts your name in what we call obituaries.
Yeah.
That's your last public testament. Whether it's a video one, a newscaster say such and such passed away today, and then they'll start listing your accomplishments and your impact. More importantly, your impact on the world. Because you've shown us, Kayla, in your story that you are successful. You are a successful young woman. And you show, because I know you, you've also, you're in the process still, it's showing how significant you are. Because again, success just only means you did something that was good for you and probably your immediate family. Significance is when you've lived a life so big, so loud, so strong that you've had such a positive impact. I mean, how many girls have come behind you when you first integrated hockey in the school system? So many more have come behind you. So that your significance is huge, probably bigger than me and you could ever know going forward in the future, because we don't know what's going to come out of the Philippines in women's hockey. Somebody, one of the greatest players could ever could come out of there. So you proved yourself, what I think is the top thing, and you continue to prove that you're significant. But let's kind of go to the end. And I'm not trying to be morbid or anything, but because I ask kids this that I work out with and I train. What do you want your last testimony, public testimony, to be in the world? When we look back over a life that you decided to make count on the grand scale stage called the world, what would you like to for people to know about, to remember you by? What do we do between the birthday and the death date, the dash? Feeling the dash right there.
You're trying to kill me, Tracy.
No. I mean, you talking about the year 2098. Yeah.
No, yeah. Well, I thought about that a lot because life is short. We don't know. I don't know when I'm gonna go. I could go tomorrow, but definitely I want to be remembered as someone that helped people. That's why I'm with Charity Bounds. That's why I'm with this other organization called Boys in Sport, where we help women athletes. I want to help people by using sport as a tool. And this is what I want to be remembered for, because I don't think there's anything else that's important. I don't think there's anything else important aside from helping people and inspiring people and just loving people. A lot of people nowadays, they're so blinded with, especially with Instagram, posting stuff that they have, having a nice car, having the latest Yeezys or stuff like that. When I was younger, I was like that too. Like, oh, I wish I had the Yeezys, or I wish I have a Louis Vuitton. I was like that too, but I did a lot of self-reflection recently. I've been doing a lot of self-reflection lately, and that's not really the life I want to live. I don't want to be so good looking on social media, but inside there's like nothing. You haven't done anything. And I believe that you've done something if you've done something for others. I don't think you're successful if you're rich. I mean, you're successful if you're rich, but I think you're more successful if you use what you have to help other people and make a good change in the world, no matter what change that is, as long as it's for the good. And that's what I want to be remembered for. And I want to make a big impact. I want to change the world greatly. But at the same time, if I can't do that yet, I start small. I start person by person, one by one, because that's still something. So yeah, that's what I want on my obituary. Just someone that created an impact, no matter, even if it's small.
Well, I'm gonna tell you, like I said, I know it's gonna be 2098 or longer, but let me just say this, because I don't know if I'm going to be around in 2098. But what I will say is this: you're already well on your way to that obituary where people are going to say that all of those things about you. I know I will, and that you are making an impact. I want to thank you not only for coming on the show today, but I want to thank you that as a little Filipino girl, that you dared greatly, that you wouldn't just take the status quo. You wouldn't just take what people were saying. You were like what I always talk about, the people, the crazy ones, the ones who really want to change some things for the better. And even though people criticize you and try to make you feel bad about it and say you crazy, they find out, like everyone else does, that it's the crazy ones who actually really do change the world. And I want to thank you for dreaming that big dream and continue to dream that dream. And not like most people from the outside in, but I want to thank you for dreaming this dream from the inside out, because I do hear your heart. I do hear your passion. I see it, but more importantly, I feel it. So on behalf of the world, and I do mean this, I want to thank you for being that little girl who had that big dream, who valiantly and courageously went after it, despite setbacks, injuries, all of that stuff. And now has grown into this amazing, beautiful young woman who definitely setting the score right. Because I do believe when we go, I think the real score is the love we leave, not the money, not the, like you said, what did we do with all of it? What did we do with the money? What did we do with the fame? What did we do with our social platform? What did we do that made a positive impact, empowered others that were around us? And so I have my hat on, my hat's off to you. Thank you so much, Kayla, for coming on. I know so many people going to be blessed and learn a lot from you. If anybody wants to reach out to you, I mean, they got some questions about, more of what concepts and things, or want to know more about some books that you read and help to shape this mentality, this beautiful mindset that you have, how can they reach you?
Yeah, definitely. On my Instagram. So my Instagram is Kayla Cheska. Cheska, Chesca, and I used my Instagram to actually, promote the things that I'm working on, which is I promote a lot of the bounce stuff. I promote a lot of the stuff that we're doing at Boys in Sport, where we help female athletes and women equality. And I post a lot of the books that I read there as well. So it'll be like a good way to catch up on whatever new things you want to read. I'm pretty active on it. Yeah, so Kayla Cheska on my Instagram would be the best way to reach out to me.
Well, yeah, y'all just heard it from them. This valuable resource. You need to get on it. If you're serious about winning in this game in life, you need to hit that follow button. Like Load, I want to hear her tell me one day, Tracy, I got 5.6 million followers on this and everything. And folks is really, really, really taking advantage of the resources. One, not only is it going to be good for her, but it's going to push her. And she don't need much pushing to keep being more and more valuable. And so she can bring more and more values to this, to her site. Again, Kayla, thank you so much for your patience. Thank you for all you do for us at Bounce, because I'm telling you, yeah, we better because you in it. Yeah, we better because you in it. And I believe personally that the world is better because you in it. So again, thank you.
Thank you, Tracy.
So much. And I'll be seeing you definitely real soon. But again, thank you so much. And thank all of y'all again for checking us out here at Bounce TV. Because you can get with this or you can get with that. But you need to stay with this because this is where it's at. So thank you again. This is Mouse TV. We'll see you on our next episode with more great, amazing people and stories and resources that's going to give you everything, equip you with everything that you're going to need to win in the game of life. Thank you, Kayla. We'll see y'all next time. Peace.
Thank you so much.